Hello, everybody. Got an incredible video for you today. It's an email that I sent not long after the murder attempt. I got a story that goes along with it, and you're gonna be blown away. Talking about dropping names here, I'm gonna show you. This is the send to list of this email called True Miracle, and here's what it is. I named it True Miracle Email. Do not stay silent. Okay. Often wonder how many Christians know about the underground homes, crimes, and murders here in Midland, yet they've chosen to stay silent. They must feel great guilt for being a party to such sick crimes. I'm sure if it was their family who had been hunted like an animal and then shot and left for dead inside their own home, they would say something. On the other hand, I wish my family would say something. I think maybe they're scared of these violent criminals. Here's a story that happened not long after I had survived the home invasion and premeditated murder attempt. On January 8, 2013, I composed an email named True Miracle, and I attached the pictures of the then secret police and sent them to a long list of people. Below are the names of the people that got this email. I'm going to show you that this was the list, but I'm going to show you here in another list here in a minute. I named it this because I was giving God all the praise and glory for saving my life. It's clear they planned in advance to murder me, or otherwise they wouldn't have broken into my home, cut my phone lines, and then shot me by surprise. This was a true miracle. Remember, the evidence shows I wasn't shot with my gun. We know somebody came to my home and shot me. The distribution list for this email included almost all supervisors for the Midland Police Department, mayor, city council, city admins, sheriff, most Midland churches, the press, and more. I wrote it, but then I didn't send it, and I saved it as a draft because that was a lot of important people. I then went and read my Bible, as I do every night, and I randomly opened it up to Esther chapter 4, and I read, "For if you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance for you will arise from another place, but you and your father's family will perish. And who knows but that you have come to this position for such a time as this?" After reading this, I knew what I had to do, so I pulled up my draft email and I hit send. I later posted on Facebook, "Everybody knows but the public." If you and your friends haven't heard about the underground homes, murder attempt, or many other crimes connected with them, then it's because these people are keeping it hidden from you. These important people. As you look through the names, you'll notice that a lot of these people are no longer in office, but some of them have been promoted, such as Seth Herman, who is now our chief of police. I feel sure that was no accident, and I believe he was promoted to keep the secret of the underground homes, parties, and murders. He has known about this for many years, yet he has done nothing to stop the crimes or see that justice is served. It's the opposite of what we think law enforcement should be doing. I also saw where Tony Dickie got this email, and 5 years later he was identified as the PI by the private investigator as one of the secret police. That was Lieutenant Tony Dickie. The police report from the night of the murder attempt, which was illegally withheld from me for 7 years, placed him inside my home minutes after I was shot when he wasn't seen arriving on the security cameras that saw other officers arriving. This proved that it entered my home from the underground entrance the ex-wife had told me about and I'd been shot from. This means that the police were under my home on the night that somebody under my home had shot me. That's a big deal. Dickie came to my home at the same time as Matt Davis, who was also not seen arriving on the security cameras. Okay. That was also not seen arriving on security. And based on the police reports, it looks like Matt Davis was the guy that stole the proof, which I'd told Detective Rosie Rodriguez about. That was the voice recorder which had recorded the burglar alarms going off before I was shot. This proved that I was shot during a home invasion. Matt Davis then quit the police department about a week after the protective order hearing in December 2013. My guess is that somebody in Midland Police figured out that he was involved in this capital murder attempt and asked him to quit. He later bragged on my YouTube channel and said, "Buddy, I stole the evidence and nobody will ever find out." I have a print screen showing that. You also see where the late Sheriff Gary Painter was on this list. After he died, we had an election for a new sheriff, and that was when I secretly recorded Sheriff candidate Joe Lozano telling me that the underground homes were the hideout for Painter. In fact, I now suspect that he was one of the high-level police that Angie was afraid of and why she didn't want to report the murder of the young girl at the 2010 whole show parties. I can only imagine him reading this email when he knew all along about the underground homes, crimes, and murders. One of the news people still here is Stuart Dorian. He is the long-term editor of the Midland Reporter Telegram. No wonder the Republic remains ignorant of the crimes here. He has known about this for many years. This guy's editor of the Midland Reporter Telegram, and there's underground homes here in Midland with all kinds of evidence connected to multiple murders and police involvement. Okay, I'm gonna zoom in here so you can see these churches. Okay, these are the churches that got this email. They're in that send to list. Okay, maybe you see your church there and you can ask them, how come you didn't tell us about this? You know, here's the Midland Police Department. At the time, I got the email for all the supervisors. Notice that Brian Rackow's on that list. He was at my house not on the night I was shot. He was here for the second entry 3 days later with Rosie Rodriguez. So obviously he knows. You know, I think they promoted him recently. Matt Davis, he's the one that I believe stole the evidence. That, you know, the nurse documented me telling Rosie Rodriguez, I got proof. Just go look. It's in my house. And then it was stolen. You know, April Chandler, she said that she found it and checked it into evidence, and she just lied. You know, and she's still a police officer. And then her supervisor was Sergeant Matt Davis, and it looks like Matt Davis stole it. So about 2 or 3 years later, or 22 months later, after I made a point of the police still in evidence in the capital murder attempt that I told them about, Matt Davis checks it in, and then he quits the police department. Okay, checks it in 22 months later. And then you see former Chief of Police Bryce Robinson on the list. Okay, Tony Dickie's on the list. Seth Herman, our current Chief of Police. Like I said, I believe he was made Chief of Police to cover up the underground homes and the crimes and murders connected with them. All the people in the attic crimes being reported all over. Nobody knows about it. With help with Stuart Dorian, our news editor of the Midland Reporter Telegram. You know, I mean, it literally is a conspiracy, folks. I mean, this is what you call a conspiracy. I put a note at the bottom. I said, you can no longer find the email address online for most of these people or these positions, and I feel sure it's because they don't want somebody sending them proof of crimes and proving they're not doing anything about it when that's their job. And so I'm going to show you here. This is a print screen from the send to list, and I have the email of the true miracle email that was sent to all these people in Midland. So there's a lot of people in Midland know, but they're the important people. All the rest of us that are taking bullets, we don't know. Buddy Webb, Midland, Texas.